Welcome back once again to Candy Jack's Toy Box. Who's in here? Today we're going to be taking a look at my collection of Aurora model kits. These are not official ones, these are all reissues. The originals came out between about, I'm going to say 62 and 65. These are probably some of the earliest examples of horror collectibles or toys even. So I think it was kind of a controversial thing at the time, especially when you look at some of the details on some of these that we'll get into. But before I show you the ones that I have, I'm just going to kind of gloss over the line because I do not have all of them. So the main lineup of the Aurora monster models that consisted of Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Bride of Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll has Mr. Hyde. That one that depicted Jekyll kind of in a mid-transformation form, turning into Hyde. Godzilla, King Kong, and then two kind of original characters that were not from any movies, The Witch and The Forgotten Prisoner, which I have right here. These kits have been re-released several times throughout history. They were re-released in the 70s with glow-in-the-dark pieces included. There was the Illuminator versions, which I have one right here, which these came out in the 90s, I think, and these have it's all made out of neon plastic, which glows in a black light. And then there's just been kind of like pretty straightforward re-releases, like the other ones I have here. This is more or less how the kits looked originally. I think there might be a few alterations, like some clear pieces here and there. So that's my quick little bit of history about the whole thing. Let's kind of take a closer look at the actual ones that I have right here. So the first one that I have right here is Dracula. This is from the Illuminators line, that's why it's not painted. It's all cast in this neon plastic. So the Illuminators line, that consisted of Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy, King Kong, Phantom of the Opera, and Aurora also did some superhero characters, so they also did a Superman part of that lineup. But yeah, so if you get one of these, you know, it's your choice. You can paint them and just have them look normal, or you can take advantage of the fancy feature here, which is this neon plastic, which glows in a black light. Next up, this one's a little bit morbid right here. This is the Forgotten Prisoner of Castlemare, which this character does have a whole backstory applied to him. From what I understand, he was some sort of like, I think like a king or some sort of royalty that was, I guess, cast into this dungeon by the people and left to rot. There was also a kit released later called The Ghost of Castlemare, which is supposed to be the ghost of this guy. And I guess if you get both of the kits, you can connect them together, so it kind of looks like his ghost has sort of wandered away and is roaming up the stairs. Now we have the Phantom of the Opera, which is one of my favorite characters. And this one's neat because, you know, you can take his little mask. If you get this, don't glue the mask down into his hand. Just sets in there nicely, and then you can take it out and stick it on his face. Look at that. How neat. This one might have stirred up a little bit of controversy back in the 60s also because, as you can see on his display base, there's a little cage, like a little cellar, with a trapped prisoner locked in there who seems to be getting eaten away by the rats, possibly. So there's some very gruesome detail, just showing his bones and muscle through the skin, which I'm sure kids just thought was awesome back in the day, and I'm sure parents really hated. Yeah. The Phantom isn't the only disturbing model that Aurora released. They also had the functioning guillotine model kit that actually cut a little figure's head off. They also did the monster scenes, which was very controversial. That had, like, one of the kits was a victim that you could put in a cage. If parents were going to buy that stuff for their kids, it would be the less uptight parents, especially back in the 60s, I'd assume. So here's the last one I have. This is the Salem Witch, or just the Witch. See, in mine I made these like custom labels of like bat's blood and pus and all that fun stuff. This is one of the few female characters. They also did the Bride of Frankenstein. They tried to do female characters, I guess, to get girls more interested. As you may or may not know, gender roles were a little bit more enforced back in those days, so girls probably felt weird, like, were not interested even in getting a model kit. And boys usually didn't want to get a girl character, even if it was a gruesome witch like this. This is probably one of the coolest kits in the line right here. I love all the parts and pieces. Spiderweb, cleaver, all the dead animals she's using for her potion, make her brew. It's really hard to see, but if you look in that cage, there's like little critters in there. So I hope you enjoyed that the spooky look at these little things here. See you next week when I do, something. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out when we get there, I guess. Maybe another movie review.